Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about all the books that I want to read in August. So I have a few books that I've ordered last month that just came in that I'm super excited to get into this for August, and there's some that I pre-ordered as well. And I'm so excited to start reading, like literally as soon as I'm done filming this. First up, we have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I honestly haven't heard too much about this book. I've seen a couple people reviewing it, but I got hooked by the cover and the title. I thought that sounded really interesting to me. Anything circus related, like ever since I read Water for Elephants a while back, I was like hooked. Give me like circus stories. I don't know, they fascinate me. So this is a fantasy and magical realism, and it's basically about this circus. It just appears out of nowhere. We have these two magicians, Celia and Marco, who fall madly in love, but they are essentially battling each other out to see like who is the best of the best. They've been training their entire lives for this. So it had a lot of elements that I thought were really interesting. We have the magic, we have the circus, we have the competition, and then we have obviously the romance and the love that unfolds between these two main characters. It does have an average rating of 4.3 stars on Goodreads, and I think that is pretty promising, so we'll see how it goes. But this cover is just so cool to me. I love when publishers take the time to make really interesting cover art. So yeah, totally excited to get into that. Next up, we have Darling Girl, which I've actually already read. I read it like the first day in August, but that was on my August TBR, and that is a Peter Pan, I guess, retelling. It basically warps what you think you know about the Peter Pan story, and it is obviously centered around the Darling family. We have the granddaughter of Wendy, and she is the main character, and we see her life play out. We see her life and how she's dealt with being in the limelight and all of the things that people don't know about Peter Pan, and how it's affected her personally and the people around her. It definitely interested me. I love retellings, reimaginings, anything that has an arc from a prior fairy tale. Just sign me up. I automatically want to read it. So yeah, that one was definitely on my August TBR. Next up on my TBR, we have Caraval, and again, I got hooked by the cover art. I just think it looks really cool. This is a fantasy young adult, I believe, but there's also like mystery and romance in here. It has a average rating of 4 stars on Goodreads, and I've seen mixed reviews about this one as well on YouTube, but I'm excited to check it out for myself. This is book 1 in a series. I believe there's 3 books, if I'm not mistaken. Essentially, it is about this girl, Scarlet. She has an arranged marriage. Her father kind of sucks. He's very powerful, but he's also very mean, very cruel, and he set up this marriage for her. And she's worried for a bunch of reasons. One of them is that she will miss her chance to go see Caraval, which is this like once a year performance, and like the audience participate in the show as well, and she's always wanted to go. I love the idea of competition. It kind of reminded me of the Hunger Games, which is why I picked it up. And obviously there is magical elements in it. There is romance in here as well, but it is young adult, so I shouldn't expect too much. I just opened it up actually and saw like it's broken up into sections, and I just think that looks really cool. So I appreciate when books do this. Her and her sister essentially find a way to go to this event, and during this time her sister gets kidnapped by the mastermind of Caraval. And even though everything is a performance, she finds out that there's so much more to Caraval than meets the eye, and it's up to her to find her sister first before the other participants do, and it kind of just goes from there. So sounds really interesting. Like I said, it had mixed reviews, so I'm not gonna think too much about what other people were saying. I'm really excited to check this out. This is one of the young adult books that I have decided to pick up for this month. I have another one that is also a young adult read, and I'm excited to get into reading more young adults. I actually took a class in young adult literature in college, and it was super fun. We read a ton of books for like teens and tweens, and I just had such a great time learning about the young adult genre and everything that goes into creating books for that genre. So yeah, the next book I picked up is The Red Queen. This is another fantasy young adult romance, and this book is basically a world divided by blood. So we have the red and the silver blood. Our main character, Mare, has red blood, which I guess is like a lower faction from the silver. So anyone with red blood, I think, has to serve like the silver elite. She accidentally discovers that she has a power of her own, and the king of like the silver blood basically tries to hide the fact that she is a red blood and pretends that she is like this long lost princess. And yeah, I just thought it sounded like a fun time. Again, I'm just expecting a young adult romance, nothing too extreme, but it sounded like a really cool storyline, and it's book 1 of 4, and it's about 350 pages here, so it's a good amount, but hopefully if I like this one enough, I'll go ahead and pick up the rest of the series. So yeah, I'm excited to check this out. I got another book in the Victorian Rebel series. This is The Hunter, which I believe is book 2. I read book 1 last month, which was The Highwayman. So this is The Hunter, and it is, again, it's going to be about one of the characters in the first book, but you don't necessarily have had to read the first book to read this one, if that makes sense. Christopher Argent is our main character, and he is a very highly skilled assassin. He's apparently very cold-hearted. He doesn't really have a lot of emotions just because of his line of work, I guess. But when his target is like this beautiful, untouchable girl, I believe her name is Millicent, he basically kind of just gets thrown for a loop, and even though he has a job to do, he can't help like falling in love with her or something like that. So it sounded like a fun time. And again, I liked Kerrigan Byrne's first book in the Victorian Rebel series, so I decided to pick up the second one. And of course, I love a good historical romance. I think I gotta read one every month. So, all right, and the last book on my TBR for August is Lark, which is gonna be coming out this month. And I'm so excited. I've already pre-ordered it, so I can't wait for it to come in the mail. And in fact, I just heard that it's being picked up by either the producers or the filmmakers of Twilight, so that should be really exciting and fun. So I believe this is book 1, and it's going to be a series. And when I read this, I immediately thought of the Hunger Games, and I was like, I have to pick this up because Hunger Games was one of my favorite reads ever. Essentially, every 100 years, the island of Lark appears, and it hosts this centennial, which is a deadly game that only the rulers of these 6 realms are invited to play, and they basically have a chance to break this curse that's been all over their realm for like hundreds of years. So the goal is for at least one of them to win. Each realm, I guess, has their own curse. In order to break that, like your realm's curse, one of the other rulers has to die. And our story revolves around Isla. She's probably the youngest of the rulers, and her curse for her realm is that whoever you fall in love with, you have to kill. Everyone like fears them, despises them. They are not a good group of people to be involved with. So she's gonna try really, really hard to obviously break this curse over her realm. And that I believe that is the main POV we're gonna get. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how this goes. And yeah, that is all the books on my August TBR list. I'm so excited to get started and dive into these books. If you have any recommendations for August reads, please let me know in the comments down below. I will have everything linked in the description box. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. But until next time, I will see you in my next video. Bye.